Okay, well, welcome this morning, you guys. I'm so happy to be here and to just do a little bit of a short lesson and an intro call to what high performance coaching is. And then also, I know Leanne is going to share a little bit about her experience with high performance coaching. And I think Michelle is going to hop on. Oh, there she is. She's going to hop on as well and share a little bit of her experience with high performance coaching. I'm going to answer some questions and talk about, how it works and all of that stuff. If you want the recording, just shoot me a message. I will be putting the recording up also on my YouTube. So if you follow me on YouTube, you can always grab it there. But I just want to start out sharing a little bit about my experience in general in business and my personal growth development. For those of you that maybe don't know it or haven't heard the whole story, let me do a quick mute here before I do that. Okay. It's been 7 years since I went from being mostly a stay-at-home mom to being an entrepreneur and having many, many different interests. I tell people I'm multi-passionate. Like I love expanding in lots of new ways. I also believe that you really need to focus on what it is you want to accomplish and achieve, that you can't be multi-passionate and all over the place. You have to kind of, pick something, really dig into it. Become an expert, and from doing that, you can of course expand into other interests if you have other interests. But it's been 7 years, and I didn't have any background in business, any background in being coached. I'd never been coached. I was not a personal development guru. I had never read a personal development book when I started my business. And so I was new to all of this. And it was kind of like being thrown into the lion's den to try to figure out how to build a business. And at the same time, have babies and raise babies and have a marriage and not have a lot of support in my life as far as like, it's not like I had grandma coming over every day to help me with the kids. And, I didn't have any family that lived on the island that I was living on. And so I was just kind of messily figuring this out, but it came to a point where, yeah, I was performing really high in the business aspect, and I was really, killing it there. And I was like winning all this great stuff and taking amazing trips and making a lot of money. And I was really high performing in that area. But I'd reached a point where a lot of other things seemed to be kind of like falling apart. Wasn't really taking care of myself, wasn't connecting in the way that I needed to with my husband. And so we were just kind of passing each other, in the night. He was working a lot. I was working a lot. I didn't have a lot of organization or habits in my home life. And so, this is what happens to a lot of people that start a business or they become entrepreneurs. Like they put all their heart and soul into that, and they haven't established the habits to maintain and help the other things in their life thrive. And so it comes to a point where a lot of people hit that point and they just stop. This is what I most often see, especially with women, is like we hit that resistance where it's uncomfortable or something is off in our home or with our marriage or with our kids, or, we're just burning the candle at both ends. And then all of a sudden one day we just say, screw it, and we quit. Have you seen people do this? Like, oh, you know what? This business is my problem, right? Or this company is my problem, or whatever. And it's like, no, it's not. It's never the thing that you want to pin it on. And what I realized is those things that were happening to me were coming from a lot of different places, from a place of scarcity, from a place of fear, from a place of not having established habits around taking care of myself, mind, body, spirit, from a place of not collaborating with, working with, and getting, people involved in helping me and supporting me, whether it was within my business or outside of my business. So it came from this place of really kind of like fear and sort of isolating myself into thinking I had to do it all. And so I reached that point and I almost did quit, actually. I almost just was like, I've got some really great residual income. I think I'll just go ahead and ride the wave, right? Which is what a lot of people do. But there was this voice inside of me that was like, you got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. This can't be all there is. This can't be the way it has to be for every woman. for every mom, for every person that like has a dream, like, oh, you know what, it's just too crazy hard and you're going to have to give up the things that you really love to have success. Like that just seemed wrong to me. That seemed like that wasn't the way that it was supposed to be. So I went on a journey of learning personally and figuring out, and I had been reading books those first 3 years in my business. I'd been reading books, listening to a lot of podcasts, and I had been, doing work it that way that was like free work, all the free stuff, right? The books, the podcasts, the YouTube videos, any free training that I could engage in. And then about 4 years ago, I was introduced to Brendan Burchard, who I had never met, and who's a really good friend and close business partner of a friend of mine. And I started attending his events. Everything that he talked about, everything that he was about really spoke to me, because it wasn't like a so grind, go at any cost. It wasn't like that kind of thing, but it also didn't ignore the work part, because sometimes we get too far into the woo, which is the like, manifest and think about it and cast your vision and make your pictures and just put it out there into the universe, or just pray and whatever comes your way. And it's like really far over here. And then you have the camp that's like, go, 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 grind, 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 whatever it takes, give everything, work 16-hour days every day. Like, and it's like, there's gotta be a place in the middle. There's got to be a place that respects the woo and that respects also the hard work, that respects that, yeah, it's going to take something to get to where you want to be. And also a methodology that's been highly, highly researched. And so I found this, it started to change my life, transform the way that I thought, the way that I behaved, the way that I was showing up, the people and the things that I let in my life. And my performance went from having 1 6-figure income to having 3 6-figure incomes over the course of about a 2-year period of time. So for me personally, high performance coaching and the things that I've learned and applied through doing this has changed, my income level, but I can honestly say that it's changed my life. Like, it's changed the way that I live. It's changed my relationship with my husband. It's not required me to work more. In fact, it's allowed me to work less, but to work more effectively. And what I want most in my life is I want to be able to spend the time with the people that I want to spend the time with. I want to be able to make impact. I want to be able to make a really good income while making that impact. And I don't want it to come at the expense of the things that are most important. And to me, the things that are most important is, my health, my family, the people that I love, right? Those are the things: my health, my family, people that I love, and also my spirituality, who I am. How many people have you seen like become successful and they totally change? And you're like, what happened to them? Right? Or some really big things fall apart and you're like, what happened? And I'm not saying things don't happen and we don't always bring all those things upon us, but I'm on the quest. And what I want to help coach people through is how you can keep your core values, how you can maintain the essence of who you are, the most important parts, and how you can keep those things in your life that are dear to you, but you can also absolutely crush it in business. You can just crush it, and you can break your own records, and you can break records, and you can create new things if that's in your path and in your plan, and you have a desire to continue to create. I believe that HPC helps people to become more limitless. Just helps them to become more limitless. It's going to point out your blind spots. It's going to teach you how to tackle those blind spots. And it's going to get really real with what's missing, whether it's that you are lacking clarity, or maybe you thought you were really committed, but you find out actually you haven't been committed. Or maybe the biggest thing that you're going to get out of that is different ways in which you can grow your influence. And you can grow your ability to influence and impact people via your influence, and how to persuade people, not manipulate, but to have the power of persuasion is a gift. And for so many people that are trying to build a business, one of the things that's lacking that we cover in high performance coaching is how to increase your influence and how to increase your ability to persuade people to see things the way that you see things, or to see that they need what you have. It's a huge skill that's not often coached on. And so we coach a lot about that, relationships, influence, persuasion, a ton on clarity, a ton on commitment and productivity and what's getting in the way of your productivity, and not just pointing out what's getting in the way, but let's get to the solution part. Let's get to the solution of how we help you to be more productive. So those are just a few things that we cover in high performance coaching, but I wanted to give Michelle a little bit of time to share her experience being an HPC. And she was such a great active participant. I guess the last thing I'll say before she comes on and shares her experience is that coaching is a participatory sport. So every single time there's like a bunch of people that sign up and half of them show up. And I feel really sad for the people that don't show up, because I know that when you show up and you play full out and you take responsibility for your own growth, and you understand like, hey, this isn't for Brooke to make me grow, or this isn't for XYZ coach to make me grow. This is for me to come ready to listen with my notes, ready to put into practice something that I heard. It is such a participatory sport. And I can say this with 100% transparency because I have invested in things before that I haven't participated in. Did I ever ask for my money back? Did I ever get mad at the person? No, I take 100% ownership. I'm like, crap, I just spent $2,000 and I didn't do any of it. That really sucks. That's on me. That's on me. And so Michelle has been such a, what's the word I could use? Like she's been in the game. She's been in the game and she's still in the game growing. So Michelle, take it away. Share your experience with us.
Thank you. HPC, hands down, has been the most life-changing experience for me, not just in my business, but in my personal growth. And when I saw it out there, I was very attracted to what it was all about, and I wanted to be a part of it. But I want to share this part before I share the biggest change that happened to me. Is that I'm a pretty shy person. And when I get into something new, I'm kind of the person that stands in the background, likes to just watch what's going on in the group dynamic. I'm just, I just want to see what is this all about. And in the past, my shyness has kept me from actually joining things that probably would have been very good for me. But I went for it. And I also want to share that I had this preconceived notion that everybody who was already signed up or going to sign up for this group was like that they already had it all together, just high performers and everything. This was my thought. And not to say that everybody in the group wasn't excellent, because everybody is so excellent there. I stepped in shyly. I just watched this community, so many of the women who had been in the previous HPC, and I was like, wow, they're in it again. And then relationships just started happening. I was committed to being part of as many lives as I could be on, which was most of them. I was so proud of myself for doing that, or watching the replay if I didn't see the live. But it wasn't even hard to do that. It's a beautiful community. And it filled me. And once you start getting filled in a place, that's just it. It was like the space that God had for me to grow in. And I'm just so in love with it still. And I'm very thankful for the friendships that grew and are still growing. And I want to share, I could talk for an hour about what I got out of this, but I won't. I'll just say my biggest thing, because I say it time and time again, is what I discovered about myself and my blind spot, because I've been stuck in my business for over 2 years. And my biggest, it's been in my face, but I didn't see it, is that I wasn't doing the work. I began because I had a negative circumstance happen somewhere in my life and my business. I allowed myself to have this story that now I was confused and I didn't know what the heck was going on and what I should do next. I stopped doing the things that I was doing to succeed, and somehow I thought I was still working. And so being part of HPC over and over again, I just kept getting the reality check that, wow, I'm not doing the work. And and so I've been putting my best foot forward doing it. It has changed me. I feel different. I sound different. I can feel the freedom that's happened on the inside of me. That's not something that you could just magically do. It just comes from absorbing, being in the right community, being around excellent thoughts, getting Brooke's truth bombs. you know, you deliver those so well, Brooke. And I'm so right now in my business, the biggest change that has happened to me is being present in relationships, and they're just popping up all over the place, even old ones reignited. And it's literally the best thing that could be happening right now. I'm positioned now to keep growing. I do know what to do. I no longer say I can't and I'm confused and all of those things. That's not even a part of my thinking that I entertain. That's like, I don't even want to waste 2 seconds. I gave over 2.5 years to that. And it's like, that did not do me any good. That's what I just loved. I could go on about it, but I won't. But thank you, Brooke.
Oh, Michelle, I love that. And I love how you brought up the point, because I remember you so often in coaching calls saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
And how many of you guys have said, I don't know on a coaching call? And I'm like, well, if you did know, what might it be? Just kind of questioning you, because so often we go to that, I don't know. And one of the things that I just wanted to give just a mini lesson on today was clarity. And one of the things that will absolutely change your life and change your business is to first seek clarity. It is always the first step in everything that I do in my life. And it's what we start with and we really dig deep into in high performance coaching is clarity, because without seeking clarity, anything else we try to coach on is not going to be as effective. So many people are just kind of going around in circles with their progress, or going around in circles in their business. They have these cyclical thoughts, cyclical behaviors, and they say, I don't know why I'm doing this, or I don't know why this is happening. And so we kind of stop that train of thought and we help you to become clear on why you're doing what you're doing and what it's creating in your life, where it's coming from. And we don't stay there. Therapy is for the past, right? Therapy wants to dig up all the things from the past, and therapy is a beautiful thing, but coaching is not therapy. But it does help when we're able to understand, okay, why am I doing this? Where is this coming from? But then coaching takes you from that space into, okay, now what am I going to do about it? And you get that clear path forward for, hey, what's my next step? And then what's my next step? And then what's my next step? When we're able to pull back the veil or remove the cloudiness and we're able to see clearly what our next steps are, you'll find that success is really not that difficult. So first, seek clarity. And that is the very first point that we coach on in high performance coaching. I had a beautiful dinner last night here in Hawaii, and I was sitting next to my friend, Whitney War, who I was just down in the gym with her. We were just working out. She and her husband were working out, and I was down there. And last night we had dinner together, and she was just telling me how much her life had changed because of high performance coaching, and how she had kind of been really, really just like cruising in her business and just didn't know what to do and was always so disorganized. And part of her identity was that she was not organized and she just didn't have that as a skill. And so things in her business and in her life were not organized and chaotic. And it was showing up in her income and what she was producing. And, I'm not going to personally share her numbers, but I will say that her business has exploded. And it was funny because she was sitting there at dinner and she was like, you would not believe it. Like, I absolutely love organization. Like, I am so organized. I have my schedule for everything a whole month out. Everything is set up. I was able to come to Hawaii. My business is exploding. And it was just like so fun to see her be able to gain clarity around the fact that it wasn't that she was disorganized. It wasn't that she was chaotic, like that was her natural state and that just was who she was. It was a choice she was making. And why was she making that choice? Well, in coaching, we dug into that. And she's a student that's done high performance coaching 3 times. So for a year and a half, she invested in her growth. And to see the change over the year and a half has been phenomenal. And I was telling her, I said, yeah, it's really interesting to me because so many people think, okay, you know, I did this training and then I went and did the thing and nothing changed. And they think like they're going to do something once, or they're going to like get this like magical aha, you know, from like a coaching thing, and that should fix everything for them. What coaching is and what personal growth is it is a choice. You're opting in to constant reassessment, constant evaluation, constantly catching yourself, making small, tiny, almost imperceivable changes. And when you only do coaching like once, whatever kind of coaching it is, I'm not saying it has to be this, but like when you only do something once, it's like only going to church once and saying, you know, I just didn't really feel it. Like it didn't totally change my spirit. Like I'm just not really no, like there's a reason why, you know, people that go to church every week. They go because they need to be filled up. They need to be inspired. They need to be called out. They need to hear what they need to hear. There's a reason why I engage in coaching personally. Still, there's a reason why, and it is because we are forgetful. And we need those reminders, and we need that accountability, and we need that sort of lifeline to keep us in the game, to keep us moving forward. And so coaching really is a journey. Whatever you choose to do, I want to encourage you to never stop personally growing and seeking, to never stop reading, listening, engaging, and finding something that costs you something. Because when everything costs you nothing, it doesn't really give you very much skin in the game. And that's what I learned is like, you know what, if this is going to really cost me, I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up and do something about it because it was a sacrifice. And I know for Leanne, it wasn't easy to decide to do high performance coaching. She's not over there just like swimming in millions of dollars. Like it was really a conscious thought. She's not swimming in it yet. She will be. But it was like, it's a decision to make, to like invest, and it can be a little bit scary to decide to invest in yourself. And I think one of the biggest reasons it's scary to decide to invest in yourself is because you're just worried, like, you know, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not going to make anything of this. Maybe it's just not even possible for me. So, you know, what if I invest that money and it doesn't, like, you know, I don't do anything. And so I think that's a normal fear that comes up. Might have been something that came up for Michelle or Leanne or anybody else. You can share in the comments if that's ever been a fear that you've had. But what I do see is that people rise to the occasion. They rise to the occasion and they realize, you know what, I'm going to get everything I can get out of this. And Leanne did. Like she really was like there in it, in the calls. Let me call her out, was on open coaching, listen to the recordings. So she's going to share her experience with high performance coaching now. And you can share anything about it that you want, Leanne.
Oh, wow. I'm like, Michelle, where do I even start? I have so many things to share, but I guess just the best way is to tell my journey of, you know, growing up, all I ever wanted to be was a wife and a mom. And I achieved that. And then I was at this place of, well, now what? And I knew that there was more, that God wanted more for me, but figuring that out, it was like I was on a hamster wheel, you know, and I'd started my business and just again, hamster wheel, not knowing, just feeling like I was floundering. And so I took a chance. I thought, I had been following Brooke for quite a while, and I saw that she had this HBC training. And so I thought, I'm going to give it a shot and see, what happens with it. And I've done it twice. And I can't even put into words the difference that it's made in my life, and not just my life, but the life of my family. And, Brooke's already talked a little bit about clarity. And, I did HPC last fall, then I went to Align, then I did it again in the spring. And just learning how to have that laser focus and learning how to take a step back and reevaluate, and the habits that the book talks about and that she goes through in the coaching, and learning how to implement those into your life. And one of the most beneficial things that I took away was the, I don't know what you call it. I call it the balance wheel. It has the 6 components that you do a weekly evaluation on. And so, I've got that hanging over my desk. And when I'm feeling a little off balance or out of alignment, or things are kind of wonky, it's taught me to step back and look at the 6 areas of, well, what am I doing really well and what's a little off, and kind of bring that back into focus. And so I don't deal with overwhelm near as much as I did. And I've learned that overwhelm is just the mindset. When you're feeling overwhelmed, it's all about bringing yourself back into alignment and getting recentered and figuring out, what's the next right step. And I think what really amazed me, and I'll probably get really emotional about this, is I went to my husband, and for us, the price tag for HPC was high. And I really wanted to do it a second time, but I didn't think that we could afford it. And when I talked to him about it, he immediately, without hesitation, said, okay, let's do it. Because he had seen such a change in me and the growth in me personally, that he had faith that it was going to be beneficial. And then there's the flip, the background side of HPC is the community. Because I look at these faces on this call, and I have got some of the most dearest friends that have come out of this community. We're still in the chat. We still talk to each other. We still jump into each other. And, like today's Michelle's birthday. So happy birthday, Michelle. But, all the things that, I went through probably the hardest season of my business this last year. And there were some things that happened that I had no clue how to walk through and how to handle it. And it was this community, and it was Brooke's gentle but very pointed coaching that helped me evaluate and move past and get over and overcome the kick in the teeth, basically. And what I love about the coaching is, you put something in the chat, she'll say, oh, Leanne, let's talk about that. Unmute, and then she coaches you through those gentle questions, but they're very pointed. And the work is easy, but it's very hard. And you have to be willing to be committed and dig in. And if you are committed and you dig deep and you do the work, the growth will come and the growth will happen. And it's going to propel you like a slingshot into the next level and the next level and the next level. And what I was amazed by is the second time with HPC, like the first time I was like shaving off the top layers. But then the second time it was like dive down really deep and get into the deep layers and go even deeper. And so, this is a course that I would do again and again and again and again. And I've got my book, I've got all the little tag marks on my book. And, there's prompts that he gives you throughout the book. Do them, because they'll take you into really self-reflection and deep growth. And it is so worth it. And it's so worth having those habits in place, so that when life throws you a major curveball, like it does, like we all know, life is going to throw you curveballs, you can stop, and it doesn't have to completely derail you, because you've got those habits that are a baseline and the foundation for what you're doing. And it keeps you steady, and it keeps you on course, and it keeps you aligned, and it keeps you centered, and it keeps you on with your clarity and your purpose. And all the things that, that she's going to teach through this course are just phenomenal. But, it's so much more than just what the book holds. It goes deep, deep into your personal growth, into your personal being, as well as for your business. And so, I'm just forever grateful for what this course has done for me and for my family, because I'm seeing my girls pick up the habits and apply them in their life as well. So,
Love
and when they
that.
throw it back at you,
I love
you know,
that.
anyway, but thank you, Brooke.
I love that so much. I put in the chat a question that's a really great question for clarity, going back to clarity when you're feeling overwhelmed. And it's literally just to stop yourself when you're feeling overwhelmed, and then you're starting to buffer and do other things or eat or go get on social media or whatever it is you're doing, like, because you're feeling overwhelmed, which is typically then you fill up the space with something else that you're going to do, is to just stop and ask yourself what's really going on. Right? What's really going on? And it's typically there's some kind of feeling or emotion in there that needs to be expressed. Maybe you're sad about something that happened. Maybe you're angry and you need to yell. Maybe you are just like frustrated as all get out, and you need to like get that energy out of your body by like going for a walk or going for a run, but like asking yourself, hey, what's really going on? As opposed to just continuing to say, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed. Right. And so we do at every point in coaching seek clarity, like, hey, what's underneath this thing that you're saying, Leanne, or what's underneath this thing that you're saying, Michelle? You also brought up another great point that I wanted to just give a little bit of a mini thought on here, is that you were going through one of the most difficult times in your business, the second round. And whether you're going through a difficult time in your business or it's a really difficult time in your life, there are things that you can do and that you can have in place so that even though you're going through those difficult things, your entire life, your business, all of these things don't have to completely fall apart. Because that's the other thing that I see happen for a lot of people is like, something happens in life, something happens in business, and it's like the emergency brake goes on and everything comes to a screeching halt. Like there's no activity, there's no behaviors, there's no growth. In fact, it's just like a slip and slide down the other side. And there's a couple of principles that I coach on, and they are commitment and necessity, as well as purpose. So commitment, necessity, and purpose, and how those relate to you being able to make it through difficult times in your business or difficult seasons in your life. How many of you know that the hard things are going to keep coming? I raise all appendages, right? Like let's just like, woo, yeah, like the hard things are going to keep coming. Like that's the, unpredictable thing about life is like, we can't control people. We can't control everything that happens. We do, for the most part, create our circumstances, for sure, but we don't have control over everybody else's behaviors. And so we really have to be grounded in what our purpose is and why it's necessary. And sometimes, like Leanne said, the first time around, she kind of like scratched that surface. It was like that first layer of the onion. And I feel like the first time people do it, even with the purpose part, it's like the top layer of the onion. And then like after like, I 6 months or a year, like if they're doing it again or later on down the road, maybe even if they're not doing it again, but they message me like 6 months later after doing it, and they're like, oh my goodness, I finally figured out like what my purpose is and why I need to do it, why it's necessary. Because I will tell you from personal experience, I've hit so many challenges in my businesses, but I never stop because I am full of purpose. I know why it's necessary. And because I know why it's necessary on a deep, 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 deep level, I'm committed. And my commitment demands of me to show up. And my habits help me to do that. And so I feel like it's when I talk about commitment and when I talk about purpose and when I talk about necessity, I'm talking a lot about like the soul and the spirit and those things that are really personal to you that pull you forward. I don't even want to say push, but they pull you. It's like you feel intrinsically like you have to keep going. Like you need to accomplish this. Like this is meant to be. And you're going to be able to have the opportunity to be in a capsule where you get to dig into that and you get to figure that out. And those people are the most successful people. Those people are the highest performers. I mean, think about whether you love her or hate her, like think about someone like Oprah. Do you think Oprah like had it easy? No, she was so full of purpose and she knew why it was necessary for her to show up. And because of that, she was so committed, she was unstoppable. And so we're going to teach you how to become more unstoppable through those things. It's also a beautiful blend. The third part to add here is your health. And we always do talk about health. You're always going to get that from me when we coach, but you're always going to get a little bit of a different spin each time as I continue to dissect health and work through that. But talking about your energy level. And your energy is not just like the energy you have to jump up and down, but your energy is like, what kind of energy do you bring to a room? What kind of energy are you exchanging with people when you're in conversation? By the way, that impacts your influence, that impacts your ability to persuade. What kind of energy are you bringing, like from that, that place of being able to connect deeply with people? What kind of energy are you bringing when you show up on social media? What kind of energy are you bringing in your interpersonal relationships within your house, right? With your kids, with your spouse? Because when we're coaching in the high performance methodology, we don't skip over that personal part of you. I believe, as does, Brendon Burchard, who created and designed and did all the research on the world's highest performers. It's basically a database of like all of this research they've done on the world's highest performers and what these people do in their habits and what matters to them and what kind of questions they ask themselves that help them to be high performers. That in all of this research, what he was looking for was people that were highly successful, but that also had incredible lives. Like they were healthy, they were energetic, they had great relationships, they were spiritually well, not any specific religion, but like they had, when I say spiritually well, I mean like peace. Do you have peace in your heart? Do you have that ability to feel that calmness, right? One of my first coaches said, peace in your heart, money in your bank, right? I want you to have peace in your heart and money in your bank. And so in high performance, we are going to be talking about all the things, that alignment wheel that Leanne talked about. I blend the alignment into high performance coaching because when things are off or when you're struggling to move forward in success, it serves to zoom out and to look at that wheel and be like, ooh, this area of my life is starving right now. I need to give a little bit of juice over there. I need to give a little bit of love, attention, a little bit more of me to that. And I need to trust and let go of the fear in this other area. And so it's a beautiful opportunity for you to grow as a person. I loved hearing you, Michelle, talk about how you grew as a person, because I know that the most successful people I have been mentored by and I've watched, they're people that personally have a good life. They're people that personally have grown a lot. They haven't just gone and gotten the $20,000 email secrets or the $40,000 funnel or the Kajabi website or whatever. They are people that are grounded, that are energetic, that are also peaceful, that know who they are, that know where they're going, and that know why they are going there. And so if you want to know who you are, why you want what you want, where you're going, why it matters, and how to get there, high performance coaching just might be the thing for you. So if you have any questions, ask the questions below. The way it works is we do our first community introductory call next week. And then the following week, we dive straight into our core coaching topics. We do have a workbook that's downloadable, or you can use the actual hard copy. I'm a hard copy, write on paper person, but some people, they don't need that. But I'm a huge believer in journaling. And that's kind of like a place where you can journal your takeaways and stuff. So you get that workbook, or you can download, or you can do both. All of the coaching calls happen via Zoom. They're all recorded, and they actually will all be loaded up into the Good Life Coaching community. So what happens when you register for high performance coaching is it opens up like a secret area, which is where all of your workbook, coaching calls, everything is in there. And you get 4 months of free premium access to the Good Life. So that it just pauses your billing cycle for 4 months when you do high performance coaching. So you can participate in that for free while you're doing high performance coaching. We have 12 high performance topic coaching calls plus the introductory call. So that's 13. And then we have 6 open coaching calls. Open coaching calls are just calls where you can come and you can be like, I've been working through this and I'm really stuck on this topic. Or I know you said this, but I'm really resisting it. I don't want to accept it. I don't want to, how many times have you been in coaching and you've been called on something and you're like, your first thought is, but, or, well, my circumstance is different, right? I have argued for my limitations and my circumstance in many coaching calls. And so open coaching calls are really great for that, because you can like kind of figure out like, okay, am I just like arguing for, what I want to be true, or am I open to the possibility that, maybe I'm wrong and maybe I need to change, and we can work through those things in those open coaching calls. We also have a Facebook Messenger chat where we chat, and sometimes I'll share additional podcasts or information that we've gone over on our coaching calls, and where the community happens and those friendship happens. I'm a huge believer in community. You need community to be successful. We were not meant to do business alone. We were not meant to go through struggles alone. We were not meant to go through life alone. It's one of the biggest reasons why I've formed community in many places, whether it's Align or the Good Life or HPC. The community is one of the most valuable things, because you are in a place with other people that want to grow. They may not have the same exact goal as you or be doing the same exact thing that you're doing, but they have a desire to grow, to become better, to expand, and to live an authentic life. An authentic life is a life where you take ownership, where you call your own BS, where you start to self-correct and self-coach, because okay, I'm not living in my core values. I'm not living authentically. What needs to change? And so you're going to be in that community with those people. So Nancy, the way that you sign up is you just go to brookehemingway.com and you click on the coaching tab, and it's right there. If you click on the coaching tab, you'll see all the different things, and you'll just go ahead and sign up there. Automatically it pauses. If you're already in the Good Life, it pauses your membership there. If you're not, you'll get to create a membership for the Good Life, and your first 4 months will be free. And Cassie, you will be getting a hard copy in the mail next week. Yes. You won't need it next week for the introductory call. So you are fine there. All right, you guys, thank you so much, Michelle and Leanne and everybody, for being here, for your good energy, sending you so much love. I hope to see you guys, or if you know of anybody that would benefit from this, I'm going to be putting the YouTube link up later today. You can share it with teams or friends or people that you think could benefit. Thank you so much for sharing your hearts and for being the amazing humans that you are. Have a great day, you guys. Bye.